Okay, this is continuation of exam 2 review, bio 141. The other video did cut off right after I think right after sympathetic and parasympathetic. So I'm going to pick up with the next question. Be familiar with the differences between somatic and autonomic reflexes. I would refer you to page 4 of Nervous System Part 2 supplemental notes, the area under the description section. Which reflex is somatic, which reflex is autonomic. I'm going to give you an example of a reflex and ask you which one it is. Next one is basically different parts of reflex arc. It's on the same page, same section, page 4 of Nervous System, Part 2, supplemental notes. I want you to be familiar with all parts. It's under the somatic reflex arc section. Second part, third part, fourth part, and so on and so forth. Which one comes first, which one comes second. So definitely write that down. I'm not going to go into details about each one, just know which one is first, which one is second, and which one is next. Next question is a thinking question about psychoactive drugs. If you think about psychoactive drugs, question basically you should be thinking about neurotransmitters. We are talking about, for example, antidepressants or stimulants or depressants like diazepam, clonazepam, Xanax, benzos, stimulants like Adderall, Ritalin, Concerta, and antidepressants like Lexapro, Cymbalta, Effexor, all other ones. The antidepressants, what neurotransmitters they release, you don't have to know it specifically, but they release usually serotonin. When the serotonin levels go down, people get depression, so doctors prescribe them antidepressants. A lot of people do take amphetamines, Adderall for ADHD, but it's a controlled medication, and the reason that is a controlled medication is because it releases dopamine, and dopamine makes you feel good, makes you feel awesome, and you want more and more of it. So the point of the question being is that it fluctuates. It fluctuates with the level of the neurotransmitter. You can go to page 12 of Nervous System Lecture Notes, Part 2, Objective K, Table 10.3. So Nervous System Lecture Notes, Part 2, page 12, Objective K, Table 10.3. It has some of the neurotransmitters and basically what they do to the brain. But as far as psychoactive drugs are considered, know that what they basically do is the level of the level of the neurotransmitter. They change the level of the neurotransmitters. Next question is asking about, I want you to know where sensory nerves originate and terminate. Go to page 2 of Nervous System Lecture Notes, Part 3, Section 11.4. So Nervous System Lecture Notes, Part 3, page 2, Section 11.4, and read a specific line where it talks about where sensory nerves terminate. That's very important, where sensory nerves terminate. Almost done. Next one is basically asking about the common nerves and their sites of origin. So if I give you a nerve and ask you which organ does it affect. You should be able to answer that. Refer to page 7 on Nervous System Lecture Notes Part 3, Section 11.12. Section 11.12 of Nervous System Lecture Notes Part 3, page 7. Next question is about basal nuclei. What are basal nuclei? It's a definition question basically. What are basal nuclei? What do they do? Go to page 5 of Nervous System Lecture Notes Part 2, Section 10.10. Next question is about epidural and subarachnoid space. I'm sure a lot of you who are going to go into the healthcare field, and a lot of you will get familiar with these terms more, and a lot of you have already heard of epidural. So for that question, go to page 10 of Nervous System Lecture Notes Part 2, Section 10.26. Section 10.26 of page 10 of Nervous System Lecture Notes Part 2, where it talks about epidural and subarachnoid space. I want you to be familiar with the meninges, the 3 layers of protective membrane that surround the spinal cord and the brain. You can find that in the Nervous System Supplemental Notes, Part 2 of the Nervous System Supplemental Notes, first paragraph. Be familiar with the 3 layers of the protective membrane or the meninges that cover the brain. Know what brain stem consists of. What brain stem consists of. Basically, brain stem consists of 3 parts: medulla oblongata, midbrain, and pons. I just told you the answer to that question, but you can go to page 6 of Nervous System Supplemental Notes, Part 2, and look at the brain stem region table. Page 6 of Nervous System Supplemental Notes, Part 2. And that should do it for exam 2. As I said, 50 questions, all multiple choice. You will have between 200 to 300 minutes to complete the exam. 1 attempt. I will open up the exam tomorrow morning. You will have plenty of time until next Wednesday to take the exam. So don't feel rushed. Don't feel obligated that you have to take it tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. You will have plenty of time to study, to go over this video and to go over the sections that I specifically told you about, and study those sections and read those paragraphs, read those pages. Sometimes I referred you to text, or sometimes I referred you to some of the slides. Majority of the time I referred you to the lecture notes and the supplemental notes. So take notes of those, and when you have put all that together, then read it, study it. When you feel comfortable, take the exam. You have to take it in one setting. Once you start it, you cannot pause it. You will have about 250 minutes to answer 50 questions, 1 attempt. So be careful if your internet connection goes out or something happens and you accidentally submit it. As I said, for that reason, once you submit the exam, after you finish the exam and you submit it, you will be able to see your grade, but you will not be able to see the correct answer for the questions that you got wrong until end of next Wednesday when everyone has taken the exam. If you want to know the answer to a question that you got wrong, of course you can email me. If you want to challenge a question, email me. give me your explanation, and I will read it and see how it is. And basically, if it's a valid challenge, I will give you partial credit for the question that you challenged, or for the question that you explained. It's basically, see, it's the matter of the time that you took out of your schedule to write that paragraph and then email it to me and explain to me what you think about this question, and why you think this question is a bad question, and why the answer should have been this and not this. And you offer me a 2 paragraph of explanation that makes sense, not nonsense. I'm not going to give credit for nonsense explanation, but if you have a valid explanation and accurate sources in your explanation, I will consider partial credit if you email me if you want to challenge a question. I don't think I've forgotten anything. That should do it. Yep. Thank you.